And thanks for joining us. I'm Tom Green. The family of Luis Garcia, the teenager who was shot and killed outside of East High School last year, doesn't believe that justice is being served. And this morning, their attorney discussed their new lawsuit against the Denver Public School District. 9 News reporter Brianna Fernandez was there for the news conference.
The Garcias were not in attendance in today's press conference, and according to the attorney, it's because it's been a very difficult time for them. Now, the attorney did start that press conference by reading a statement from Luis Garcia's brother, Santos Garcia, and it read in part why no justice has been served. The attorney, Matthew Berenger, said the Garcia family is looking for 3 things: answers, accountability, and action. And according to him, the Garcia family has not received any of those things from DPS or East High School. Luis Garcia was shot last February as he was sitting in his car outside of East High School. He died 2 weeks later, and now a year and a half, no one has been charged. That wrongful death lawsuit was filed against East High and the district. Garcia's family believes they know who is responsible. It names a child under 18 identified as AA and his mother identified as BB as defendants. According to the complaint, the boy, who wasn't identified, was in a stolen car when he shot Garcia. It says his mom should have known her son had guns because of posts on social media, but really, most of the court documents focus on DPS. Garcia's family claims the district failed to protect students by removing armed school resource officers and failing to maintain a safe environment.
So the Garcia seeks not only to seek justice for their dead son, they also seek to bring these kinds of policies to light, not just in Denver, but in the state of Colorado.
Now, we did reach out to DPS once that lawsuit was filed. They say that they cannot comment on pending cases. Now, as for this lawsuit, according to the attorney, Matthew Berenger, it's going to go through the legal process and it could take weeks or even years. For now, I'm here in Denver. Brianna Fernandez for 9 News.
PSD is putting their head in the sand and acting like nothing is wrong. The devastation that they've created in every family that was impacted by Zanella cannot be understated.
The Poudre School District facing its own lawsuit as well. Several parents of children abused on school buses claim that the district knew the paraprofessional who admitted the abuse had been previously convicted of child abuse, and they still let him work around kids. That paraprofessional, Tyler Zanella, pleaded guilty to physically abusing 11 students with special needs, and in April, he was sentenced to 12.5 years in prison. We have reached out to Poudre schools for comment, but have not yet heard back. 2 of the prosecutors who charged Barry Morphew with his wife Suzanne's death have now been censured. A branch of the Colorado Supreme Court issuing a public statement that Mark Hurlbert and Robert Weiner committed misconduct. The 2 attorneys already had disciplinary charges for launching a secret investigation into the judge in the high-profile murder case against Morphew. But the 2 settled, so they won't go to trial. Both lawyers do have to pay nearly $5,000 in fees. It was last month that District Attorney Linda Stanley was disbarred for ethics violations stemming from that same case. A Denver sheriff's deputy is on leave right now amid domestic violence accusations. Denver police arrested 34-year-old Willie Smalls yesterday morning at an apartment on East Yale. An arrest affidavit says a woman called 911, saying Smalls wrapped his arm around her neck and choked her for roughly a minute. Smalls faces a second-degree assault charge. He joined the force last year working at the downtown detention center, but will stay on leave while the case is investigated. Yesterday's temperatures, they're gone. Today, a different story. As a matter of fact, we have a very good chance of breaking a heat record today. So Lauren Robinson with the Weather Impact Team joins us now. This would be quite a record setter.
That's right. We're expecting temperatures in the low 90s this afternoon, which means we'll break the existing record high for this day of 88 degrees. This is also a big temperature difference from the high of 76 we saw yesterday, closer to our seasonal high for this time of year, closer to 72 degrees. Now, I know that's a lot of numbers for you, but the big picture is we're going to see very warm temperatures this afternoon. Right now, across the Front Range and Eastern Plains, we're already in the 80s, some places already in the 90s. We're seeing those 60s and 70s 40s in the foothills and in the mountains, a little cooler out west, middle 70s across the western slope. But let's take a look at this 24-hour temperature change map. The entire eastern half of the state, anywhere between 20 to 30 degrees warmer than we saw just this time yesterday. So this warm weather is coming in and it's packing a punch. Denver, 21 degrees warmer than we were just 24 hours ago. So with that heat, we're also seeing dry, breezy conditions. So some areas have increased fire weather alerts. Northern portions of the high country into the northern portions of the foothills and Front Range and Eastern Plains. These areas will be under a red flag warning through the rest of the afternoon. I'll have more details on that just ahead. But coming up in my 7-day forecast, we're going to talk more about that heat returning. We have a couple days where we could break our heat record. We also have more sunny, dry, warm weather ahead, and we do have more fire danger that we're going to talk about. All of that will be for you just ahead in my full 7-day forecast.
Thank you, Lauren. There's a new NTSB report. It shows a plane that crashed in Morgan County last month hit a power transformer before crashing. The pilot of that agricultural plane, 52-year-old Kyle Scott, died in the crash. The preliminary report says a witness told investigators that Scott was beginning his second pass on the morning of September 5th when the plane's right wingtip clipped that transformer. Friends say Scott flew for work, but also for fun, and also used his airplane to help others, like flying for the sheriff's office during wildfires. The number of pedestrians dying in crashes in Colorado has jumped exponentially just in the last decade, up 160%. Last year, the Colorado State Patrol says Colorado saw 153 pedestrians die. That's the highest number on record. And CDOT says it happens more often in October, November, and December. But transportation officials say the increase isn't just a Colorado problem. Pedestrian deaths have nearly doubled nationwide over the past 2 decades. Civil is not a word always used to describe political debates, but it was used to describe last night's one and only face-off between Tim Walz and J.D. Vance, the 2 vice presidential candidates, largely focusing on domestic policy, also weighing in on the spiraling conflict in the Middle East. Both pointed to the need for steady leadership, but sharply disagreeing on who would best provide that. They also traded some barbs over false claims regarding Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, and the economy.
Kamala Harris's atrocious economic record, which has made gas, groceries, and housing unaffordable for American citizens.
Kamala Harris's day one was Donald Trump's failure on COVID that led to the collapse of our economy.
Both men returned to campaigning today, Walz in Pennsylvania and Vance in Michigan.